Welcome to Mad Cat English. Today's lesson is an introduction to adjective clauses with subject-relative pronouns for people. My name is Maria, and I will be your teacher for today, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's first start with taking a look at three different girls. So if I say to you, I know the girl, do you know which girl? No, we don't, because we don't have enough information. Now let's think again about the same three girls, and this time let's add some information about them. She loves doing yoga. She has lots of questions. She gets good grades. So now if we take our sentence, I know the girl, and then choose one of these sentences that gives us some extra information, such as, she gets good grades, now we know we are talking about the girl on the right. However, we can combine these two sentences into one single sentence, which also clearly tells us which girl we are referring to and uses an adjective clause. So if we notice, the subject pronoun she in the second sentence refers back to the girl. So if we take the pronoun she and change it to who, this is what allows us to combine the sentences. I know the girl who gets good grades. Who is now a pronoun that refers back to the girl. And the clause, who gets good grades, is the adjective clause describing the girl. So here, just like she was the subject of the second sentence, who is the subject of the adjective clause. And just like gets agreed with she, which was also referring back to the girl, gets still agrees with girl. Now, another way to say the same thing is to use the pronoun that. So I know the girl that gets good grades. That is a pronoun referring back to the girl. That gets good grades is an adjective clause describing the girl. That is also the subject of your adjective clause, and gets is your verb. Let's take a look again at our three girls. And this time, let's use a different sentence. We say the girl studies a lot. Well, this time we're referring to the girl, which is now the subject of our main sentence. So if we say she gets good grades, we can still use this as an adjective clause, but we must notice that the subject pronoun she in the second sentence refers back to the girl, which is now the subject of the main sentence. This means your adjective clause must follow the girl. So the girl who gets good grades studies a lot. Who is still a subject pronoun referring back to the girl. It is still the subject of your adjective clause. Gets is still the verb of your adjective clause. But we need to notice that the main subject of the sentence is the girl, and the main verb is studies. Whenever we use an adjective clause to describe the subject of the sentence, we need to be very careful. It is very easy to say something like, the girl who gets good grades. But we cannot do this. This is a sentence fragment. If you use an adjective clause to describe the subject of a sentence, you need to make sure you finish your main clause by including a main verb. Okay, now that we've had an introduction to adjective clauses with subject pronouns describing people, let's try it out. Combine the two sentences into a single sentence using an adjective clause. Make the second sentence the adjective clause. So for number 1, I just met a man. He is a jazz musician in Doha. To combine these, you can say, I just met a man that is a jazz musician in Doha. Or, I just met a man who is a jazz musician in Doha. Number 2, I love the woman. She babysits my children. I love the woman that babysits my children. Or, I love the woman who babysits my children. Number 3, the reporter had a lot of questions. She interviewed me. The reporter that interviewed me had a lot of questions. Or, the reporter who interviewed me had a lot of questions. Number 4, the students are respectful. They live on my floor. The students that live on my floor are respectful. Or, the students who live on my floor are respectful. Now that we have a little practice with combining two sentences into a single sentence using an adjective clause, let's test our knowledge a little further with some editing. Correct the mistakes with adjective clauses in the following sentences. The people were friendly that were at the party. The correct way to say this is, the people that were at the party were friendly. Remember that you need to place your adjective clause immediately after the noun you are describing. And here, the noun we want to describe is people. The tutor who helped me. Well, one correct way to complete this sentence is to say, the tutor who helped me was very patient. The key to remember here is that when you use an adjective clause to describe the subject of your sentence, you need to complete your sentence with a main verb. So if you chose to complete the sentence in a different way, that is just fine, so long as you remembered to include your verb and used subject-verb agreement if necessary. We watched the dancers who was in the park. The correct way to say this would be, we watched the dancers who were in the park. So again, keep in mind that your subject pronoun who replaces the noun you're describing, in this case, dancers. So here, because dancers is a plural noun, that means our verb needs to agree with a plural noun, which is why we want to use were instead of was. Okay, that was your brief introduction to using adjective clauses with subject relative pronouns for people. If you liked this video, please go ahead and click on like or share it with your friends. Also, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave me a note in the comment section below or to send me an email at madcatenglish@gmail.com. I hope you will come back and join us for another lesson soon. And in the meantime, my own Mad Cat Browbrow and I wish you mad English. Thanks for joining us and see you next time.